Oh, I don't want him to start. I found myself marooned here. I got information from our lawyers that they had been to court and had obtained a court order which they had come to serve here. The regional had been taken to the Inspector General, but our lawyer, James Orengo, was not allowed access into these premises. So in those circumstances, I decided to come myself. I think maybe by accident I was allowed access into the premises.
God's will. God's will.
Yeah. They say the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Yes, it's wonders.
It's wonders to perform.
Yes.
I was now here in the premises when I then talked to James Orengo by phone and asked him to come. They came with Senator Mudama, and they were being held at the gate. So I walked out and went to the gate. At which point, but before I went in there, when I came inside, I found a search proceeding within the premises. I went up to the bedroom and I found...
It's not them.
It is not the police. I found a beehive of activities in the bedrooms. Police officers under the beds, carrying out the so-called searches. Then I asked one of the seniors, I asked, what is going on here? He told me that we are doing a search. I said, but you've been served with a court order. He said, I've not been served. I said, there's a court order which was served on the Inspector General, and your boss should be having it. At that point, I had a copy of the order. Then I told him that you are supposed to be a law enforcement agency. You are the first people who should be obeying the law. And this is an order from the court. At which point, they stopped the search. We came down with them. Then we went out. I went out to meet the boss. The boss followed me to the gate. Then I asked them to open because the lawyer was outside. And they said, no, my instructions are not to allow anybody else inside. They've been very kind to allow you inside, but our instructions are not to allow anybody. I said, no, outside is a lawyer. And every Kenyan is entitled to a lawyer. They appointed at Willis Otieno, and he said he was a lawyer. I said, yes, but a lawyer on record is only James Orengo. They refused. It was a struggle. Then I retreated to talk to the boss. The boss, and I told him, here is a court order which has already been served on your superiors. And I read just one paragraph which says that the conservatory orders be and are hereby issued prohibiting, preventing, and or restraining respondents from further trespassing, breaking into, entering, and or in any way interfering with the private residence of the applicant without a court order or warrant for that purpose until further orders of this court. I told him, this is an order. Now, what do you say about this? He was moving. I told him, the Inspector General has been served, and you cannot now plead ignorance that you're not aware. Because if you are going to disobey a court order, what do you expect the common man to do? You're inviting Kenyans completely to disobey the law and order. At that point, he was called by his boss. He went and attended that phone call, and thereafter he said he was not allowed to talk to me anymore. Then we then came back. I was seated with Mzee here with a wonderful chat. And then I was called again that they wanted to see me. And when they called me, I retreated into a room. I called a lawyer who was with me. And at that point, then they said that I was now not allowed to leave this compound.
Detained.
Then I told him, but you know, in those old days, at least they were decent enough to come with an order, a detention order, to tell me that you are detained
Under house arrest.
or you are under house arrest. Then he just said, he walked out and went like that. He came back again to tell us that, you know, weapons had been found here, and therefore, in as far as you're concerned, this is now a scene of crime. And under the law, the scene of crime must be preserved as it is. Then the lawyer told him that, look, it only becomes a scene of crime if you have found something that is criminal. If you're talking about weapons that have been found here, they've shown you the licenses. And of course, they didn't even have to be shown licenses. They knew where they'd come from, the numbers of those weapons. They knew that those weapons were all licensed. I told him that you already talked to the media and told I could seek breaking news that so many weapons have been found here. But you know you have the licenses for those weapons. Why are you doing this? This is not right for police officers. He walked out. Then after another 2 hours, there was a reinforcement. They now came and said that I must leave now, that they want to carry out an operation. I told them I'm not going to help you to break the law. Therefore, I'm not leaving. I'm staying here to do whatever you want.
Give a clap for that.
So we stayed with here. He left me. I sat there. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. Then again they retreated. He thought they had gone. Again at 6 o'clock they came back again. And this is now a bigger contingent of the need. Now, initially there have been 70, 80, now there are over 100 in the compound. And they went on. I think then some more supporters began to come in. I want to say hongera sana to those who came and those who stayed at night, because there are quite a number of people who are also keeping vigil outside in the cold throughout the night. Me, at least, I was inside the house, which is a little warm. But we need to know that this home was terribly vandalized. There are no lights in most of the rooms. They're using basically candle lights because they had cut cables, they had interfered with very many things. Even television sets here are not working. It was really what you can call wanton destruction of a private property. This is how they were behaving. Now, this kind of behavior shows a state that has gone rogue. And it started from immediately after the Supreme Court ruling. We saw the president go on a rampage against the judiciary. Who tarried, wakora, crooks, mapinduzi ya kimahakama, a judicial coup. They've robbed our victory and so on. That actually means that the president himself has shown contempt for the court. And if the president himself starts that way, of course his subordinates will follow suit. And that is when you get a complete breakdown of law and order in society. That's the reason why you found you now have a rogue police force. Police officers who can shoot 6-month-old, 2-year-old, 11-year-old children with live bullets. In civilized societies, police use rubber bullets. Rubber bullets and truncheons are the ones that are used to control the crowd. But here in Kenya, they shoot directly at a crowd with live bullets, meaning they're aiming to kill. These are basically hired thugs who are basically anti-people. And that is where we are in this country today. But we know where we are. We have been here before. We know that changes that have come to this country have not come easy. They have not come through parliament. If anything else, parliament has been used as an instrument to create dictatorship in this country. The amendments which were introduced in parliament in the 60s and 70s are the ones which eventually ended up with such a rogue state. The Prevention of Public Security Act, the Public Order Act, the Chiefs Authority Act, and so on and so forth. And then Section 2A. All those were brought in by a rogue parliament. Today we have ended up with a similar parliament where we are being told about the so-called tyranny of numbers, that we will use our numbers. But he's saying Parliament as currently constituted consists of 349 members, people, against 47 million people of this country. The will of the people of Kenya is unstoppable. It cannot be changed. And we have said ourselves, I might as well say it here, that we respect the rule of law. That's why we accepted the ruling of the Supreme Court. But we've also said that we will not proceed without certain things being done. But that is a subject for another press conference. And therefore, want to congratulate Jimi for standing strong. Jimi Wanjigi here is no stranger to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta knows, I've been with Uhuru Kenyatta in this same residence here. And we have had very long discussions with him here, hosted by Jimi Wanjigi in this residence. So he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's trying to do, that are actually basically trying to set up Jimi Wanjigi. The weapons supposedly found in a residence in Malindi were found in 2012. Go and dig into the archives, the newspapers. You'll see the photographs of those weapons discovered from the sea. And there's a story about them. They were just taken back there, again, supposedly for exhibit. And they said it's 2 days before they went to search that they are going to go to the house and they're going to find the weapons there. And I mentioned it to them here yesterday. When I told them yesterday, they were ashamed. They know exactly. So everything that's going on here is basically something that is cooked up by the police to try to harass Jimi Wanjigi. We can end up here by saying, leave Jimi Wanjigi alone. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Questions? Your name?
My name is Joseph Mura from Capital Flag. Then as this was happening, one of the IDC desired she wants to catch and she raised serious issue.
Subject for another day.
Any other questions?
Yes. Now that we've seen this, and you say it's harassment,
presidency. What is the way forward for contemplating any other possibility?
What do you mean way forward? You guys like this way forward. That's something that is more productive. You're dealing with this specific case of harassment addressed to Jimi Wanjigi, and you told him to leave Jimi Wanjigi alone.
It's illegality.
It's an illegality. Okay? So you're in court. And you're in court. And Jimi Rengo has told you already that you're going back to court to apply for contempt of court by the Inspector General. So the rest is now up to the court to make a decision.
Last question.
Where was Jimi Wanjigi all along?
It's not necessary.
I think I should answer that.
Where was Jimi Wanjigi?
That's a story for another day. Yeah?
Very good. Very good.
I think that's good. That was the last one. Thank you very much. If there's anything else, we invite you.
Mwananchi.
Hiyo ni msema kweli.
Asanteni wote wale walikuwa hapo.
We want to ask everybody who is in the compound to give the family a little peace now, including the media and including us all. Yeah, because and then of course the leadership is going to Kampuch. We are going to big rally in Kampuch, where we're going to talk to Kenyans and everybody.
What time?
No reform.
Live happenings there at Muthaiga, the residence of businessman Jimi Wanjigi there. Raila Odinga making a statement. And finally, Jimi Wanjigi has reappeared. Police